Yeah. Right.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome the members of council back again, staff and members of the public to our February 23rd council meeting and call this meeting to order. I'd like to ask Mrs. Pearson for the roll call, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Clark.
Present.
Councillor Hyatt.
Present.
Councillor O'Hara. Councillor Patel.
Present.
Councillor Welsh. Deputy Mayor Field.
Present.
Mayor Loosely.
Present.
And that is quorum, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. At this time, I'd like to ask you for the Indigenous land acknowledgement, please.
Thank you. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabeg. The town of Petrolia is located on the land associated with the Huron Tract Treaty number 29 of 1827. We express gratitude for the land where we live, work, and play, and we are committed to working respectfully within this land and the Indigenous peoples who have called this land home.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. And at this time, I'd like to request council declare a conflict of interest now or at the appropriate time and complete the necessary paperwork for the clerk.
And I have none filed.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Pearson. That'll move us on to the adoption of the agenda before you. I'll ask for a move and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. And I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt as presented the agenda of the February 23rd, 2026 regular session of council.
Any discussion from council? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us now to the adoption of the minutes of a council meeting held on February the 9th. You have a motion before you. I'll ask for a move and a seconder to put those minutes on. Moved by Councillor Patel, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt as circulated minutes of the regular meeting of council held on February 9th, 2026.
Any errors or omissions? Any discussion from council about the minutes? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Those minutes carries. I'd like to move on to our moment of reflection. I'd like to ask for everyone to please stand. Thank you. Please be seated. That'll take us to the roundtable announcements. And tonight we start with Councillor Clark, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. The only thing I had to offer, attended the Yuck Yucks comedy show here at VPP that was put on by the Parks and Rec Department. A pretty good crowd, lots of feedback in the lobby afterwards that people really enjoyed the show. They'd like to see more of that kind of thing here where you can go out right in your own hometown and not have to travel to the city. So great job to the folks that were responsible for putting that on.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Councillor Hyatt.
I have nothing to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Patel.
Nothing at this time. Thank you, sir.
Okay, that'll move us on to Deputy Mayor Field, please.
Yeah, thank you. Through you. I just want to mention the Family Day events. Seems like I attended a lot of breakfasts, but the Legion did an excellent job, and New Life Assembly, as always, did a great job, and so much of the community was here. And I also attended the Yuck Yucks, and I have a bit of a cough and an issue when I laugh. So it was quite a struggle, but it was very good event. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. I have a few items here. I attended the Charlotte Boutique inside the CEH Blue Water Health for the CE Auxiliary Valentine Chocolate Extravaganza on Thursday, February the 12th. Special thanks to all the volunteers that organized and worked the event. The treats that were sold looked great, and they were great. Congratulations to all the staff, volunteers, service clubs, organizations, churches, sponsors that made the Family Day weekend in Petrolia a great success, as Deputy Mayor Field also stated. And I too had several breakfasts as well. I attend breakfast with MPP Bob Bailey, along with Mr. Rick Charlebois, CAO Treasurer, on Thursday, February 19th at the Sheraton Four Points Hotel in Point Edward. It was organized and sponsored by the Sarnia and Lambton Chamber of Commerce. It was a full house and with good information. I took part in the Community Leaders Federal Budget organized by SLEP on Tuesday, February 17th. It was held online or at the Western Sarnia Research Park to discuss Canada's strong budget, invest in airports, trading diversification, corridors fund, and the Building Community Strong Fund. And it was a very worthwhile session. I also attended the Lambton County Committee meeting held on Wednesday, February the 18th, and will continue to keep council informed. And that's all I have. That'll move us on now to the different committees, representatives on our different committees. The first one is the Petrolia Heritage Advisory Committee, and I see Councillor Wells and Councillor Hara are not present, but there is a motion before you to accept with thanks a resignation. And I'll ask for maybe a move and a second to put that on the floor. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And thank you. And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to accept with regret the resignation of member Angela Hoheimer.
Any discussion from council? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us now to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. And we have two members on that. We have Councillor Clark, Councillor Hyatt. Which one of you gentlemen would like to speak to that before we do the motion? Councillor Hyatt, go ahead, please.
Oh, yeah, so inaugural meeting of 2026, re-elected Mr. Ellsworth to lead us as the chair of the committee for this calendar year. Kind of a recap of events from 2025, an outline of events that are happening in 2026 was provided, and an overview of the Parks and Rec Master Plan was shared in terms of what's been achieved and what's still ongoing. And then just general updates from all of the subcommittees along the way that support Parks and Rec and the activities in the town.
That's great. Thank you, Councillor Hyatt. And I'll open up to questions. There is a motion before you. Would you like to move that we accept those minutes?
Please.
Thank you, Councillor Hyatt. I need a seconder. Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to endorse as presented minutes of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee meeting held on February the 4th, 2026.
Any discussion or questions? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving those minutes? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us now to the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority. We did get a letter from them, which was quite interesting, but I'm just recommending we receive and file it at this time. I'll ask for a move and a second to put that motion on the floor for discussion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Patel. Any questions? Not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving those minutes? And I didn't get that read. Would you like to still read that, Councillor, or sorry, Mrs. Pearson?
If you wish, no problem.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and read it.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority, SCRCA, information update.
Thank you. And we've already dealt with that. That'll take us now to the Municipal Services and Traffic Committee. We have actually Deputy Mayor Joel Field, and we have the alternate Councillor Hyatt. I'll turn to you, Deputy Mayor Field, if you'd like to speak to that first, please.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Your Worship. Petrolia Line Water Main Phase 2 has now been completed, and the tender's on the agenda for tonight, which is very good. With the recommendation with Clark Construction, work continues at the water treatment plant intake and low lift project. And as we all know, it's a 2-year project, so I'll be bringing it up a lot.
Good. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Field. We have a motion. Would you like to move that we accept
Yeah,
those?
sure.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Field. I'll need a seconded by Councillor Hyatt. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the February 23rd, 2026 Municipal Services and Traffic Update.
Any questions? Not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving those minutes? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us now to Planning and Development. We have Councillor Field, or Deputy Mayor Field, and Councillor Hyatt again. Which one of you gentlemen would like to take this one?
I can take it. I lost a flip earlier.
Oh,
Okay.
you lost the flip.
All right, Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead, please.
Thank you through you. Town staff and our planners continuously continue to work tirelessly with all the developers to facilitate progress on the active developments in the town of Petrolia. A few key projects that we're highlighting is the water main upsizing, which is facilitating the southeast quadrant, which is moving it forward. Country View Estates, next phase implementation with LB Investments. But currently we have 7 residential developments in different process. Draft plans and subdivisions have been received for 3 of them, Southside, Petrolia Sky, and Country View Estates Bobcat phases. Regular DAT meetings are happening twice a month. As well, we have CE Hospital site plan agreement finalized and it's out for signatures. So it's very good news. So that's all I have.
That's great. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Field. Would you like to move that we accept that motion? Moved by Deputy Mayor Field. I need a seconder for that. Seconded by Councillor Hyatt. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion. So we're all clear?
And
Thank you.
your worship, also included in that were the year-end building stats provided to us by the County of Lambton. So that does comprise a component of the motion.
Okay.
So that is for
Thank
the
you.
Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the February 23rd, 2026 Planning and Development Update.
Oh, no, we're just doing municipal services right now.
My apologies, worship.
Yeah,
I
but
thought
you-
we already done
No, we did it.
services.
Did we do that? Okay, sorry. So we're on planning and development, but it's my error. Go ahead.
No,
Thank
no
you.
problem at all. And I'll just start from the beginning there. That is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the February 23rd, 2026 Planning and Development Update, along with the 2025 in review report on building permits issued by the County of Lambton.
Any discussion from council? That's planning and development. I'm on track now. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. That'll take us now correspondence for information. We have A to F. Unless councillor wishes to pull any out, I'll ask for a move and a second to put the correspondence on for consideration. Moved by councillor Clark. We'll need a seconder by councillor Hyatt. Any discussion regarding the correspondence A to F? Seeing none, I'll call the vote after Mrs. Pearson reads the motion.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file correspondence items 11A through F.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Boy, we're moving right along. Correspondence for consideration motion, we have none tonight. That'll move us on to delegations and presentations. We have 2. First one is Inspector Stewart and Mr. Nemchek, Chairman of the Lambton Group OPP Detachment Board. I'd like to ask you to come forward, please, gentlemen. And the chair is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you very much, everyone, allowing us to come and present our review of 2025 from the Lambton Group OPP Detachment Board. You have the slides in front of you there, and if we go to the second slide, just looking at our structure, so you can see what we consist of. We have 10 voting members. The Lambton Group OPP Detachment Board represents 9 member municipalities, so 9 municipalities, contracted with the province for municipal policing services by the Ontario Provincial Police. OPP detachment boards are independent from municipal councils. Members of the municipality may choose under Section 33 to appoint an elected official to the detachment board with the understanding that the elected official is not sitting as an elected official, but rather as an appointed member representing one or more municipalities from the community and not a political perspective. Joel Field is your representative. He's amazing on the board, and we really appreciate him being on the police board. The province has 2 appointed members through application by the province appointees. That is Shirley Durant and John McCharles. And the board through application 2 appointed community members, which is myself and Bill Beveridge is the other community member at large. Recently, I was voted back in as chair, very honored to be chair of this incredible board. And John McCharles was voted back in as vice chair. So we're very appreciative of that. We have 4 non-voting members. Inspector Ross Stewart, which is to my right, is the detachment commander. Staff Sergeant Jordan Yancey, detachment representative. Assistant Staff Sergeant Chris Millward. And we have Mandy Pearson as our board secretary, who does a fabulous job, and we couldn't do this board without Mandy. On to the next slide, you'll see that we have the member municipality expense shares. And if you look at the town of Petrolia, it is at 12.09%. And the other municipalities, all 9 are there with the percentage. The last slide I want to talk about before Inspector Stewart comes up is if you ever need to contact us, the information is here. You have that in the slides, and you're here tonight not to hear from me, but to hear from the inspector. So at this time, I would like Inspector Stewart to come up and present. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to come before council and chat for a few minutes tonight about some of the things that have been happening in Petrolia in 2025 from a policing standpoint. Some of you may ask the reason why I'm here. As you're aware, under the Community Safety and Policing Act, the report that I provide to our detachment board on a bi-monthly basis focuses solely upon the County of Lambton itself. It doesn't break the report down into individual municipalities or townships. So I feel that it's very important that, given the cost of policing is very expensive, and I appreciate that, that you have a little bit of idea as to who your detachment commander is. And frankly, what's been going on in your own individual area over the course of the past year. And I'm quite pleased to come before council at any time, but I do feel that a year in review is always beneficial. Not only is this for me to have the opportunity to provide you with a little bit of a summary as to what's been going on, but also to hear of any concerns that you may have, any priorities that this council or this community may have, so that I can build that into our normal operational plannings. So a little bit of background about myself. I'm in my 27th year with the OPP. Just recently came back to Lambton County last July to backfill for Inspector Avery. Prior to that, for 4 years, I'd been in Middlesex as the detachment commander in Middlesex. So right next door, a very similar detachment with multiple reporting locations, similar population, similar number of officers. But you know, for those that know me, and I know there are members of this council know me quite well, I spent 12 years here prior to going to Middlesex, both as a road sergeant and as an operations manager, staff sergeant. So when the time came for them to find an interim detachment commander, I think that it gave both regional and senior command in Aurelia a high sense of confidence that I know the communities, that I know what the priorities and the challenges are here, and that I know the members. And so it really was an easy fit for me to come home, if you will, and I'm quite pleased to be here. What I'd like to do tonight is provide you with a bit of a high-level overview of some of the statistics specific to Petrolia. And then I want to talk about some of the other statistical data that I think is important for your community to know, as even though it's more of a county focus, it is very important as it does impact public safety within this community. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about what my priorities are, as well as your detachment commander, so that you know where my priorities lie. Over the course of 2025, Lambton County OPP responded to just over 42,000 calls for service. Within Petrolia itself, 3,647 of those were here. That is pretty consistent, actually, on previous years. If we look at 2023, there was 3,532. 2024, 3,732. And again, for last year, 3,647. So we're not really seeing an increase in calls for service, which is a good thing. It really is fairly consistent. As we look at some specifics as it relates to Petrolia itself, and I know I've provided council with a very fulsome report, I'm only going to touch on a few highlights, but I'm quite pleased to answer any questions that may come of it. Motor vehicle collisions is an important topic for us to talk about. I'm quite pleased that not only within Petrolia itself, where we see a 27.5% decrease year-over-year in motor vehicle collisions, throughout the county and frankly across the province, we're seeing a decrease in collisions. Most importantly, those most serious ones, the injuries and the fatalities. So I'm quite pleased to say that we did not have any fatal motor vehicle collisions within Petrolia itself during 2025. Very unfortunate, we did have 5 within the county. I suppose if there is one reason for optimism, it's that in previous years in 2023, we'd had 10 fatalities, and in 2020. I'm grateful to see a decrease, although 1 fatality is too many. We work very hard to educate and to do enforcement around motor vehicle collisions, and in particular, those highest risk areas that we face. We are very strategic in our patrol strategies around that, because we want to make sure that we're deploying our resources where they are needed the most. And so we look very strongly at analytics to be able to determine where our worst intersections are, where those roadways are, where we're having collisions, and focus our patrol efforts there. As we move on to criminal code and provincial statute summary, we have seen quite an increase in charges over the course of 2025 compared to 2024. In fact, a 36% increase in charges. And a large percentage of that is in relation to Highway Traffic Act. Now, I am certainly alive to the fact that anybody getting a traffic-related ticket, it's expensive. It impacts someone's insurance. However, what I will tell you is that we know statistically that there are 4 factors that lead to serious injury and fatal motor vehicle collisions, not just across the province, across the country, throughout North America. And those 4 factors are impaired driving, the lack of seat belts, distracted driving, and excessive speed. For those that sit on our board, they hear me repeatedly talk about the big 4. That is exactly what those are. And that really is a focal point for our enforcement efforts when it relates to traffic-related ticketing. Is there a time and a place for a warning? Yes, there is. Is there a time and a place for grace? Most certainly there is. But unfortunately, what we know is that statistically, those who have received warning after warning after warning after warning, we do not see a reduction in high-risk driving behaviors. That happens through enforcement and education. So I am an individual who places a large focus on our officers being very highly present and visible, and doing active enforcement of those highest risk driving behaviors that our communities face. As we move on to the next slide, please, that is violent crime. It's a violent crime summary. I'll be very honest and transparent about this. It's concerning for me. We see a 51% increase in Petrolia in violence-related crime. Now, keep in mind that that means all sorts of different things. We did not have any homicides or attempt homicides in 2025, or frankly, in the previous 2 years either. But where we have seen the increase is in minor assaults, as well as in threats. So when I look at those types of things, and in particular the threats, specifically around bullying, and we've been receiving a lot of complaints around bullying, there's an opportunity there, and that opportunity is education. And so one of the things that we're doing to address that is anti-bullying related seminars with our students and with those folks who are most vulnerable within our community itself. This council does have my commitment, as do the other municipal councils, that things such as violent crime is a priority. And we need to be focusing on ensuring that these types of events are decreasing, not increasing. As we move on to property-related crime, in my experience, whether here in Lambton over the years or in Middlesex or since I've been back, I am confident in saying that property-related crime is a priority for every council I've ever come before, and I think that that's fair. I'm quite pleased to report to this council that we've seen a decrease across the board in property-related crime year over year of 18% here in Petrolia. And this is consistent with what we've seen around the county as well. We're a 29% decrease. So this is good news. We are, again, getting back to analytics. We try and build patrol strategies around those areas where we know thefts are occurring. where we know break and enters are occurring, those hot spots, if you will, and ensuring that those areas get additional patrol hours, as well as foot patrol, bike patrol, to try and circumvent any sort of property crimes that are occurring. I am quite pleased to see decreases in areas such as break and enters, where in fairness, it shows 33%, but it is a smaller number. It's from 12 down to 8, but nevertheless, it's a positive trend. One thing that I will caution council on, though, based on this report, we see 51% decrease in frauds. I would be very cautious with the fraud numbers in any of the reports that I provide. It's not that they're not accurate. It's just we know that historically frauds are people that are victimized by frauds. There's a huge embarrassment factor that goes with that. And I think everybody here can appreciate that. And as a result, sometimes they don't get reported to us. So that doesn't mean they're not happening. It means we're not finding out about it and we can't investigate them. Likewise, we do a tremendous amount of public education sessions around frauds, especially with those most vulnerable in our community. And one of the things that we ask in those sessions is that if you receive a phone call from the CRA, for example, let us know, because it's important for us to know what the current trends are within the community, so we can send messaging out to warn folks. That comes in as a fraud, even though there's been no victim of that happening. So that can potentially artificially inflate the number. So just be very cautious when it comes to fraud. I will tell you that fraud awareness is an absolute priority for our detachment. And even, in fact, this week on Thursday at 12:30 at the YMCA, we're hosting a fraud awareness session. And then, of course, as I'm sure council is aware, on the 12th of March at 7 p.m. right here in Victoria Hall, we're hosting a fraud awareness presentation. So these are things that we are doing on a weekly basis. It is very important that we get the word out in regards to current fraud trends. So anyways, just take those numbers with a grain of salt. And then the last specific that I want to talk about is drug-related crime. We see a 50% increase from 4 occurrences in 2024 to 6 occurrences in 2025. I'm not terribly concerned about this, to be honest with you. It's a small number. Where we see the most increase is in the possession charges. And as I reviewed those in preparation for tonight, all of those were cannabis readily available to a driver. Doesn't mean the person was impaired by drug. Doesn't mean that they were actively using cannabis. Means it was within reach of the driver, which they're allowed to. We treat that as if it's open alcohol. So zero tolerance approach to cannabis readily available to the driver. And I'm glad to see that our officers are out doing enforcement on that when it's appropriate. So from a trafficking standpoint, you will see there was 2 trafficking investigations that occurred in 2025. I will tell you that these are some of the most complex and time-consuming investigations that our street crime unit conducts. They take months and months sometimes to build up enough data to get a warrant for a residence. And our street crime unit is very active when it's as it relates. Moving on, I want to very quickly talk about some specifics around the county for traffic-related enforcement. You can appreciate that if we stop somebody who is impaired in Reese's Corners or is speeding down Mandamin Road, coming towards your community, if we're able to intercept that vehicle and change that driving behavior or get that impaired driver off of the roadway, that directly impacts the safety of the good folks in this town here. And so that's why this information is relevant. So throughout the county, our members locally here laid 10,055 provincial offense notices in 2025. 3,792 of those were specific to Big Four that we talked about earlier. A little bit over 1,300 rides were conducted, so approximately 4 a day being done, which is excellent. And that's actually a 46% increase from the previous year. It is unfortunate. However, the days of us being surprised when we find an impaired driver at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning are long. That is why, and it's interesting, because I'll field questions from time to time as to why were your officers out doing right at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday? That is because unfortunately, we know that there's impaired drivers on the road at any hour of any day. And we have a responsibility to do everything we can to get those folks off the road. So that's why you see that. It is an important part of our program. And impaired driving, 258 impaired driving arrests in the county over the course of 2025. So very concerning. Very quickly, I'm going to touch on a couple of other highlights, being mindful of the time. We've been very fortunate with our staffing here in Lambton County to be very well staffed. Policing is a very competitive industry for every position. I'm quite pleased to tell this council that we are able to fill every seat that we get for every class and intake at OPC, the Ontario Police College. Despite the fact that those intakes have increased from 350 recruits to 450 recruits 3 times a year to 4 times a year. So we get approximately 125 seats in every class and we fill every seat. I'm quite pleased on actually today we had one of our brand new probationary officers arrive for his very first shift, which kind of brought back memories from 27 years ago. We have 11 more coming in the next 9 months. So we are very well staffed. I won't get into specifics as to the number of people that we actually have or the number of people working on a shift because that speaks directly to operational security, as I'm sure you can appreciate. What I will say is that we are very well positioned to handle any sort of incident that happens. And when those types of events like the snowstorm of February 7th occur, and we have 300 vehicles in the ditch or people stranded in their vehicles, we have processes in place across the organization that allow us to bring in resources from across the province if we need to support those operations. And in fact, that's exactly what we did on that day. We had officers from far away as Wellington County here in Lambton County answering calls. They brought trucks, they brought snowmobiles, and they were very quickly able to get on ground to be able to assist our local officers here to ensure that the community was safe. Rest assured, from a staffing standpoint, we are very well positioned here, which is good. I want to talk about overtime a little bit. Overtime is important for this council to understand because, frankly, it directly impacts the cost of policing within your community that each the member of your community gets. It's part of our billing model, as you're aware. Overtime is a focus of mine. It is a priority of mine, a reduction in overtime. However, I'll be very clear on one thing. I will never look to save a single dollar at the risk of public or officer safety. If we need to have an appropriate number of officers working and that costs some overtime, then I absolutely will approve that. What commitment you will have from me is for us to be very responsible stewards of the money that we are given and to be mindful of those areas as it relates to overtime where we can be looking at potentially doing some reductions. So some of those strategies that we've put in place is a floater vehicle on every shift. So our shifts are from 6 until 6 days and nights. We've now implemented a 3-to-3 car. And the purpose of that car is to provide us with extra coverage at shift change and to strategically be able to deploy that car anywhere in the county to answer a call that's going to be happening near the end of shift so that day shift can go home or night shift can go home. And we minimize the overtime that's associated with that. You can appreciate as a call comes in, we have to dispatch officers out as we should. But if it comes in at 5:30 and there's an opportunity to dispatch it to an officer that's on regular time, as opposed to knowing we're going to accrue overtime, that's being responsible. So in 2025, we did see a decrease of almost 11% in our overtime related costs, which is significant. And on the 3-year average, almost a 10% decrease, 9.7. So we are trending in the right direction when it comes to managing our overtime related costs. I do feel that is important for you to understand because it does impact. Very quickly, some of my priorities. Our mental health crisis team. I'm sure that this council is very well aware of what that program is. That sees a mental health clinician riding with our officers in a cruiser Monday through Saturday from noon until midnight. A critically important program, maybe no more important program that we have than that. This essentially allows us to put a subject matter expert as it relates to mental health and crisis in the cruiser with the officer, allow the officer to focus upon our areas of strength and the subject matter expert, the crisis worker, focus on their area of strength. And really what we've seen is a decrease in the number of apprehensions under the Mental Health Act, which is a good thing, but an increase in the number of community supports that are being provided by those folks who need those supports the most. In 2025, our mental health crisis team responded to 690 calls for service. So they are very busy. It's a very effective program. And I'm quite pleased to announce that we've just received approval for our grant that funds it for another 2 years. So
Good.
thank you to Clerk Pearson for all the hard work behind the scenes to make that happen. Make no mistake, she was instrumental in us getting that funding. We have something called our OMAP program. It's our Offender Management Apprehension Program. This is a program that came out of the tragic death of Constable Greg Pershala in 2023, where a violent offender who is out on repeated conditions of release, including for firearms, shot and killed him. After that, organizationally, we implemented a program that would allow us to have a heightened level of operational awareness of who the highest risk individuals were within the community on judicial release, particular for firearms related offenses, so that we could pay extra attention to ensure that they're abiding by the conditions of their release. And we do that by doing compliance checks, and that is quite literally knocking on their door to ensure that they are compliant with the conditions that they are supposed to be abiding by. So if they are on a curfew to be in their house at 10 o'clock, it is not uncommon for us at 11 o'clock to knock on the door and ask them to present themselves at the door to ensure that they are complying with what they're supposed to be compliant to. Those who are not, we issue an arrest warrant for them and we bring them back before the courts for the courts to make a decision around release. This is for the highest risk individuals within the community. There are none in Petrolia, I will tell you that. But there's 24 across the county and including the city of Sarnia. So these are individuals that get lots of our attention because frankly, they have proven to us that they require it. So, and from a warrant standpoint, in 2025 across the county, we arrested 231 individuals on outstanding arrest warrants. So almost 1 every 2 days. So, or 2 every 3 days, I guess. I've already talked about motor vehicle collisions, already talked about traffic enforcement. Property crime reduction is another one of my priorities. Again, I've talked about that. The last thing that I'll touch on prior to opening the floor to questions is professionalism. One of those things that I am very particular about when it comes to our officers. I have very high standards for the way that our officers look, for the way that they wear their uniform, for the way that they behave on duty and off duty, and the way that they interact with every member of the public. The standard for police officers on and off duty is higher, in my opinion, than the normal individual. And so the expectation from me and from my staff sergeants and through our leadership team to every member of our detachment, civilian or uniform, is that every action and interaction is critically important. And the highest level of professionalism needs to be brought to the table with every single one of those interactions without exception. I take our complaints that we receive. There's not many, thankfully, but when we do receive a concerning incident, we take it extremely seriously in the moment and we address it when we need to in the appropriate way. And in keeping with our policies. So professionalism is something that I believe starts with me and has to flow down to every single uniform and civilian member of our organization. I can tell you that this is also a major priority for our commissioner, as it should be. So it applies to everyone. Those are my comments for tonight. Thank you for the opportunity. I know I've talked probably longer than I should have, but I would welcome any questions. Thank you.
Hey, just hang on for a second before I open it up to council. Yeah, I did, for council's information, I did allow you to exceed the limit, but I think this is very important and you don't get a chance to come out very often. But I want to thank you and Mr. Nemchek for coming to address council. I'm really pleased to hear some of those things, everything from trying to keep costs down to with overtime, et cetera. But I certainly like to hear the idea if it's important and whatever, life-threatening, whatever, you have to do what you need to do. But I want to thank you for coming, but I will open it up to council. Any questions from council? Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead.
Yeah, through you and more of a comment. Thank you for your leadership at the OPP. I appreciate being on the board. Greg, your leadership is great, and we're very excited to have you back as the chair and John as the co-chair. So you are leading, and what you've said tonight, you are demonstrating to your people. So a couple things I'm excited about is, and you mentioned the fraud session that's going to happen here at the Vic Hall as well. We had a great presentation from the auxiliaries, and there's going to be 2 auxiliary sessions that are going to be here for recruitment. So I'm very excited about that as well. I want to thank you for what you do and your leadership. So
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Field, thank you. And I want to thank you for your involvement on the board and also Mrs. Pearson, your involvement. Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Nemchek or Inspector Stewart? Again, gentlemen, thank you for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have a delegation from Mr. Bob Durad and Jack Vanderveen of Blue Water Health. Gentlemen, would you like to come forward, please? And the floor is yours. And we do have a copy of your presentation, just so you're aware of.
Excellent. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the council, and and thank you for mentioning the site plan permit. Just for everybody's information, that goes to our board on Wednesday evening, and I'm sure that that will be signed off, and we can put that behind us. Which brings me to the reason why I'm here tonight. We are actually going to be going out to tender for the CWH redevelopment next month. And we need to start getting things in place for whoever the successful contractor is going to be. And for those of you who are involved with the site plan application, you know that the lands are owned by 3 different parties. And the area that we do need an area for what we call a laydown area for the contractor to put their materials, as well as that could also be an access for vehicles for the redevelopment as well. It's highlighted in your in the deck that I've supplied to you, and we would need that to use that property, which actually belongs to the town of Petrolia, for 24 to 36 months. When we spoke with our consultants, if everything goes perfectly, knowing the vintage of the building, we should be done in 24 months. But if there are unexpected obstacles, asbestos, you don't know what you're going to get when you open up the walls of a building of that vintage. It could take up to 36 months, which is the reason for that duration. So we're here to humbly ask if we could utilize the area highlighted for the next 2 to 3 years for the contractors for access and for the lie down area for their materials.
And just hang on for a second. I think we're talking, there's a house located there now. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and I think I've talked to Mr. Charlebois, and there is some money in the budget, and we are looking at having that removed. So it'll be up to council. I will ask for a motion from council to basically approve giving them permission to use our land for their construction equipment or materials for the length of time. And before I do that, though, I do want to mention, I'm really pleased that you're able to do this and still keep that open. So the emergency department is not being closed down during this construction. It's remaining open, and I think that's important for the people to be aware of that.
Yeah, whenever a hospital does a redevelopment of this nature, the ministry is very adamant that the doors have to be kept open. So that means the emergency department will keep functioning, diagnostic imaging will keep functioning, the lab will keep functioning, as well as any other department at the Petrolia site.
It's great news. I'll open it up. Council, any questions from council? Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead.
Just in regarding the property, you're just looking at the one property. We do own the property behind that. Is that
Yep.
needed as well?
Just that highlighted area is, the architect said that that should be adequate for the contractors to further lie down area. And that could also act as an access, during construction.
I think too, Mr. Charlebois, you can add to this. I think we were talking and I think you own, there's a garage I think you own right nearby. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Charlebois, I think Mr. Brait thought if we're going to take the house down, that we could take the garage down. But as the garage is on their property, is it not, or is it on ours?
Yes.
Mr. Charlebois,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Your worship, two things. One is that garage is actually towards, what's that?
Dufferin.
Dufferin, right? Thanks. So it's fairly far from where our building is. So we were gonna give, Mark the contact, whatever contractor we get. And that way you guys can do whatever you need to do. The other thing, Bob, I'm pretty sure you want the property behind. It's off faces, Glenview.
Yeah, that's the
So that way
vacant
you
land,
can-
Mr.
yeah.
Charlebois.
So you can go through if you need to go through. Yeah, right, because you want to use it as an access point if,
Give us a three-way to get.
if you want that, just this, probably should be clear if you want, I think you want both.
Be the
First
highlighted
one.
area, but if we could pass through the backside, that would be ideal.
Ideally, it's both properties, right? Yeah, the other one's already cleared.
And just so I'm clear, Mr. Charlebois, that is their property though, is that correct, or is that
No,
our
no,
land?
it's our-
Okay, thank you. So
It's right behind
when
you.
we're done, I will need a motion then for both of those properties. Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead.
Yeah, so that was my point. And I would make a motion that what we used to call the King Street property right through to the next one, that all be included in that,
Giving them approval.
giving
to
them
use it for
approval to use it.
All
I
right, I'll need,
definitely don't want to be the one to hold up the hospitals.
I'll need a seconder to put that on for further discussion. Seconded by Councillor Clark. Okay, any questions or any further questions regarding the motion or any questions for the gentleman here?
I think I've got it.
Okay, go ahead and read
And that
that,
is
please.
for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to approve the location on Blanche Street and Glenview Road owned by the Town of Petrolia to be used as a laydown and pass-through area for the CWEH project.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. Any questions from council? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Gentlemen, thank you for coming to address council.
Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thank you. All right, that'll take us on now to the community announcements and recognition awards. We have with the community announcements, you have a motion there before you. I'll ask for a move and a second to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Patel, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive as information only the February 23rd, 2026 community announcements as presented.
Any discussions from council? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll move us on now to, we have the Petrolia Banner Program donation to the Royal Canadian Legion to Mr. Robert White. But just before I ask him to come forward, I'm going to ask Mrs. Ellsworth if you'd just like to give us a little update on what this is all about, please.
Sure. Thank you, through your worship. This is a program that was started a couple of years ago to do veteran banners throughout the downtown. We do have room for 50. And I believe in 2024, we made a donation to the Legion. And now again, we're able to make a donation to the Legion from the sale of those banners. They are bought and they stay up for 3 years, and then they're returned to the family that purchased them or to the veteran that purchased it, and they can do what they wish with it. It's getting to be a great display downtown for October, November. We still have room for about 20, 23 more, maybe 21 more. So it's coming along just fine. Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Ellsworth. And I think this is great for the town. I think it's a great project. I'll ask Mr. White to come forward, and Mrs. Ellsworth, if you'd come forward as well.
He's from the 2025.
Oh. Oops.
Sorry.
Oops, am I gonna be in the photo?
Gonna be doing a selfie in a few minutes.
I was gonna say.
Anyway, get behind me. Congratulations. Thank you for your support. And certainly you can put this to good use.
Yeah, you're hidden.
I was like,
I believe we're gonna do one more year.
One more year. Thank you.
I'll let you do this. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I just want to thank council and for their support. All the things that we do. And by the way, we have a presentation coming up on the 24th of September that you'll all be invited to. Dedicating the new one.
That's great. And did you want to mention this is a special year for the Legion?
Well, it is the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Legion. It'd be really nice if you guys purchased the Legion flag, put up that pole.
Oops, there you go. No.
Take that up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Mrs. Ellsworth, would you like to actually disclose the actual amount? I don't know if they all saw what the amount was.
$1,265.57.
Thank you.
So effectively, we act as the steward for the program, making nothing on it, and all proceeds go to the Legion.
Thank you. All right, that'll take us now for the first opportunity to anyone wishing to address council.
Your worship, we did have someone register with us.
Okay.
She was hoping to be able to attend. She did submit her information to council for circulation as well. I don't see her here in the audience, and that is Miss Sharon Wilson regarding the report coming later this evening regarding the Country View Estates tree removal. So that was circulated to council as
Okay.
well.
Thank you. Anyone else here wishing to address council at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the next under administration. We have a report from Will Nywinning, Senior Planner, regarding the County of Lambton subdivision file 38T07001, commencement of tree removal. There is a motion before you. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Clark. I will ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to receive and file the report from the County of Lambton Development Services Department dated February 23rd, 2026, respecting subdivision file 38T07001 and allowing for commencement of tree removal by the developer.
Any questions from council? Councillor Hyatt, please.
Thank you. Through you, just a question about what was passed in the zoning bylaw amendment and in the draft approved plan. When you overlap the two, there's roughly 6 or 7 lots that don't contain the 18.5 meter rear yard setback. So just looking for clarification on how those lots specifically would be handled.
That was just brought to my attention today too. I'll ask our planner, senior planner, Mr. Nywing, would you maybe speak to that, please?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, thank you. If I could ask Jessica to throw up that PowerPoint as well. So as that's coming up, so Councillor Hyatt brought to my attention or asked a question that brought to my attention that there is a discrepancy between what the environmental impact study completed for this development recommends approval for in terms of woodlot removal and what was adopted through our zoning amendment that was done just prior to the previous planner leaving the municipality. And so when we get that up, I'll show you what we're referring to.
My apologies, I don't see within. There's a PDF, but I don't see a PowerPoint within there.
Well, sorry, this was emailed separately this afternoon.
computer. This is
Okay,
pretty.
my apologies.
I will search back some emails, Jess, if that'll be helpful to see if there's, do you know what the title of that may have been, Will?
I apologize. I should have thought to double check that. Um, So the environmental impact study that was completed identified a portion of the woodlot for the next phase, phase 4, and also portions of 5 and 7, where woodlot would be permitted to be removed. And in total, it's I believe 3.6 hectares that would be removed. And there's various mitigation and compensation requirements that would go with that that are included in the environmental impact study. There we have it. So the property that we're talking about is circled in red there on the left. And on the right-hand side, we have the draft plan approval overlaid on an air photo, which shows the layout of the plan that has been given draft approval, and the woodlot portion of that, and also some phasing that is proposed there. Next slide, please. So this here is this is a page out of the environmental impact study. The orange and the red areas are the areas that the study is saying can be removed, subject to the mitigation and compensation proposed in the environmental impact study. So this is what was before council and on which it based its previous approval of the rezoning back in October. The yellow area shows phase 4, which is what the proponent proposes to develop, install infrastructure in. It's for the next phase. So again, orange and red is what the environmental impact study says can come out. If we can go to the next slide. So this on the left-hand side shows the area that was rezoned to R110 in October on the basis of that environmental impact study. And on the right-hand side, we see 2 of the special provisions in that R110 zone. And one is that there's a 18.5 meter rear yard setback that applies to all lots in that R110 zone. And that includes no tree or vegetation removal within that 18.5 meter setback. So if we can go to the next. So this is again going back to the image from the environmental impact study, which shows the red and orange areas that can be removed under the recommendations. And on the left, we see the area that was rezoned to R110. If we look on the right-hand side, we see again the area that red and orange, which the impact study said could be removed. But I put on top of that 18.5 meter setback area. So the 18.5 meter setback area in the zoning bylaw that was done, what we missed was some of these areas along the edges where the removal area actually tapers back, not the full 18.5 meters, but down to 0. So there's actually also some edges there along the extension of Valentina, which also are proposed to be removed. So basically the zoning prohibits tree removal from a more extensive area than what the environmental impact study recommends. And so basically, I've had a conversation with Bob Leeper, who's the agent for this development and who will be developing phase 4. It is their intent to remove the wood lot for both phase 4 and phase 5 and 7. So not the area at the lower left, not phase 6, but phase 4 and 5 and 7. But what they will do is they will stay outside of those areas that have been blocked off as yellow. So this will allow them to proceed with the servicing of the lots and the construction of the subdivision. But those areas that are circled with purple will remain treed for the present. And that allows them to move forward with the servicing of the subdivision. But we will have to figure out what we do with those other areas. It's possible that they may just stay. Future homeowners may choose to keep those trees. Another option would be to go through a variance process to recognize that those areas were not intended to be preserved. So again, these areas are going to be preserved in addition to the other areas that were already planned to be reserved. Yeah, the 3.57 hectares that was going to be removed, these areas that are not going to be removed now would have been part of that 3.57 hectares. So I'm sorry, I hope that's clear. Anyways, this is something that I was not aware of, this discrepancy. It wasn't picked up until now. So just council is aware this is how we're planning to deal with that situation.
Mr. Nymaning, thank you for that. And Councillor Hyatt, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Any questions from council? Okay, we have a motion on the floor. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Okay, that'll move us on to finance. And we have a report from Jayla Saunders, Financial Analysis Senior Tax Administrator, dated the 23rd of February 2026, regarding council approval of Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund Grant Agreement. I'll ask for a move and a second to put that motion on the floor for discussion, please. Moved by Councillor Hyatt, seconded by Councillor Clark. Excuse me, I'll ask clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the report of Jayla Saunders, Financial Analyst, Senior Tax Administrator, dated February 23rd, 2026, regarding approval of the provincial HUSIF grant transfer payment agreement, and that council approves the bylaw authorizing the mayor and CAO treasurer to sign and execute the HUSIF transfer payment agreement.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. Any questions from council? I'll just ask the CAO treasurer to pass our thanks on to Ms. Saunders for that, doing that. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. That'll take us on to a report from Mr. Rick Charlebois, CAO treasurer, dated the 23rd of February, regarding the 2026 regarding update to the Town of Petrolia financial policy. You do have a motion in front of you. I'll ask for a move and a second to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Fields, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I'll read the motion, but I do believe that Councillor Hyatt may be asking for an amendment as well. I just catch him out of the corner of my eye there.
Okay, we'll
So-
do that. We'll get the motion read and
Yeah.
then we'll deal with the
So that
amendment.
is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt the report of the CAO Treasurer dated the 23rd of February 2026 regarding the updating of the town's financial policy, and that council approves the updated financial policy.
Okay, is there an amendment?
Yeah.
Councillor Hyatt, go ahead.
Yeah, please. So I would like to, I guess, stricken the second half that says council approves the updated financial policy. And I'll just share some background. Is that okay?
Yeah, share the background and then I'll ask for seconders just so they're clear in what we're doing. Go ahead.
Sure. Whereas in calendar year 2025, the new tax reduction operation reserve was established and partially funded with the calendar year 2024 budget surplus. And annual updates of the user fee schedule result in unplanned changes in user rates for our local service groups and organizations. Therefore, be it resolved that staff reviewed the draft financial policy to consider, one, updating the fee schedule once per term of council with the exception of water and sewer fees, and 2, transferring 25% to 50% of annual surpluses to the operating reserve and the remainder to working capital reserves.
Okay, I'll need a seconder for that, to put that on the floor for discussion.
I'll second it for
Seconded by
discussion.
Deputy Mayor Field. I just want to, before we go further, I'd like to ask Mr. Charlebois if you'd like to make any comments regarding that amendment.
Yes. Actually, it's interesting on the weekend. I received an email from Councillor Hyatt. I was actually writing him an email, sort of recommending similarly what he was recommending. So I think what Councillor Hyatt is suggesting is that council not approve the update to our financial policy tonight, but let staff go away, tweak it, and then come back in March or April. That's
Okay, so, thank you for that. Deputy Mayor Field, you have a comment?
Just a comment. So yeah, you did say consider. So you're basically, we're asking staff to take it away, as Rick mentioned, and come back with something that we're going to vote on at that time to determine if it's feasible and if it's okay.
Yeah.
Your worship, there's 2 motions on that'll need to be at hand here. There's the active motion, which initiated the conversation with the amendment to remove that the approval be this evening. If that amendment passes, then we will go to the original motion as amended.
Yeah.
And then Councillor Hyatt has, I believe, that direction for something to return to council.
All right, so we're going to vote on the amendment first. Does everyone understand the amendment? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving the amendment? That motion carries. So now we'll vote on the motion as amended.
Correct.
So we already have a move and a seconder for that?
Correct. Would you like that repeated?
Yeah, yes, please.
It was Councillor Field and Councillor Clark, or sorry, Deputy Mayor Field and Councillor Clark.
Okay, so any discussion regarding the motion as amended? Okay, I'll call. Oh,
So
sorry.
through you. So the amendment is overruling that we're saying it, given the approval for tonight, right? Yes, okay. All right,
Is
I
that-
think I'm okay.
All right, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving the motion as amended? Opposed? That motion carries.
This is what I heard we had coming our way as well. So this is the motion for direction to council, which is.
Okay. So I'll need another move and a seconder for that.
And
Are
I
we-
have that seconded
okay.
by Councillor Field or Deputy Mayor Field. That's twice tonight I've done that.
Okay, so
Okay.
do you want to read that so we're clear on that then,
Do you
please?
want me to read it if you can't read it?
Yeah, I was gonna
Then-
ask you what the CY 2025 was. I was gonna get some clarity on that.
Councillor Hyatt, go ahead.
All right, whereas in calendar year 2025, a new tax reduction operating reserve was established and partially funded with calendar year 2024 budget surplus, and annual updates of the user fee schedule result in unplanned changes in user rates for our local service groups and organizations. Therefore, be it resolved that staff review the draft financial policy to consider: 1, updating the fee schedule once per term of council with the exception of water and sewer fees, and 2, transferring 25 to 50% of annual surpluses to the operating reserve and the remainder to the working capital reserve.
Thank you. And I just want to ask again, Mr. Charlebois, do you have any further comments regarding this? Are you okay with this?
through your worship, yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for the motion.
All right, any questions from council? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. That'll move us on to fire and emergency management. We have a report from Chief Cousins, Director of Public Safety, Fire Chief, dated the 23rd day of February, 2026, regarding the 4th quarter report. And you've got copies of that. You have a motion before you. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that motion on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Patel, seconded by Councillor Clark. And I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to receive and file the report of the Director of Public Safety and Fire Chief dated 23rd day of February, 2026 regarding the 4th quarter report of the Petrolia North Enniskillen Fire Department.
Thank you. Chief Cousins, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Through your worship, no, not at this time.
Okay, thank you. Again, thank you for that report. It's always interesting to see that. Any questions from council before I call the vote? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving that motion, opposed, that motion carries. That'll move us on to marketing, arts and communication. We have a report from Mrs. Julie Bullock, Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities, and Larissa Ellsworth, Director of Marketing, Arts and Communication, dated February the 23rd, 2026, regarding road closure requests for special events, Black Gold Brewery Street Dance. You have a motion in front of you. I'll ask for a mover and a second to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Hyatt, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to endorse the report of the Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities and Director of Marketing, Arts and Communications dated February 23rd, 2026 regarding the road closure request, and that the road listed above be approved for closure on the dates and times as listed, and that public notification and a letter of approval for license extension be issued by the Director of Legislative Services and Clerk.
I just want to add, I think that should be a fun event, but I will ask if Mrs. Bullock or Mrs. Ellsworth have anything you'd like to add? Oh, everything okay? Great. Any questions from council? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries, and I hope you're all there to enjoy the event. Operations, excuse me. We have a report from Mr. Mike Thompson, Director of Operations, dated February the 23rd, 2026, regarding the Petrolia compost transfer site for 2026 season operations. You do have a motion before you. I'll ask for a move and a second to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. And before we read that, I would advise that all the council keep a copy of that handy. Mrs. Pearson, if you'd like to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive the report of the Director of Operations dated February 23rd, 2026 regarding the 2026 compost transfer site and dates, and that the 2026 compost pass fee, events, and curbside brush collection dates be approved.
Any questions from council? I just want to state this is a great service for our community. I think the people love this service. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us on to Parks and Recreation and Facilities. We have a report from Mrs. Julie Bullock, Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities, regarding the Arena Canteen Agreement. And again, you have a motion before you. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the report of the Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities dated February 23rd, 2026 regarding the Arena Canteen Agreement.
I think this is a great idea. Mrs. Bullock, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Nothing further, Your Worship.
Nothing further? Okay, thank you. Any questions from council? Councillor Hyatt, go ahead.
Through you. Will it just be open when there's services in the arena or when there's stuff happening on the outside as well?
Mrs. Bullock, will you speak to that, please?
Yeah, so at this time, it'll just be open when the arena is already being staffed. It's a big building. So when we have programs on the floor surface for rentals, then she'll be available to be open at that point.
And just so I'm clear, so we don't have to call in staff. There's already things going on. It's not going to be staff called in when there's nothing going on. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us on again. We have another report from Mrs. Julie Bullock, Director of Parks, Recreation Facilities, regarding the LCDS downtown sidewalk cleaning. You have a motion before you. I'll ask for a mover and a second to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Patel, seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt the report of the Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities dated February 23rd, 2026 regarding LCDS downtown sidewalk cleaning, and that the Council of the Town of Petrolia direct staff to proceed with the service agreement with the Lambton County Developmental Services for cleaning of sidewalks in the downtown core from June 1st to August 28th, 2026 for the contract term price of $3,880.80 plus HST.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. Any questions from council? Councillor Patel, go ahead.
Through you, your worship, just a comment that this service that they provide every year with a former business on the downtown core is so appreciated. They do such a great job, and it's very, very appreciated for such a small fee that we encounter to support them. So it's just a great program.
Thank you, Councillor Patel, and I certainly agree with that. It's a great service to our community. Mrs. Bullock, again, anything you'd like to add regarding this motion?
No, we're just excited to work with LCDS again to continue the program.
Great, thank you. All right, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us on now to water and wastewater. We have a report from Mr. Mike Thompson, Director of Operations, dated February the 23rd, regarding the tender results, Petrolia Line and Oil Heritage Road water main replacement. And the tender results, you have a motion before you. I'll ask for, excuse me, a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Hyatt, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive the report of the Director of Operations dated February 23rd, 2026 regarding the tender results for Petrolia Line and Oil Heritage Road Water Main Replacement Phase 2, and that our Water Reserve and potentially Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund Reserve pay for the town's portion of this capital project, and that the project be awarded to Clark Construction in the amount of $1,383,000, excluding HST.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. And I just want to also mention to council, this is low bid and it's back to the same contractor we had before. I'm really pleased with this project. We've had some great funding on this, and it does really help the future of our plan of subdivisions or development agreements to the east end of town. Any questions from council? Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead.
Yeah, through you to Mr. Thompson, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Just, is there any rhyme or reason to the difference in the price? Is there something that somebody's overlooking? Is it somebody? I just can't believe there's such a big difference in the price.
Mr. Thompson, would you respond to that, please?
Through you, Your Worship. I have no idea. I mean, it's shocking to say the least as we sat there and Mandy read the results, but nevertheless, we're happy how it turned out, and we're excited to get going. And Clark did a fantastic job, phase 1, and yeah, I think it helps that I think we're the first tender out on the street, basically. I mean, and that was by design, to have it all designed. I mean, have it detailed designed and engineered and ready to go as soon as council approved the budget, which was great, and it went out January 15th. So.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I also think there is an advantage at getting this out early. So some of the contractors that want to get the business and start early, it works out well for them and us. Any further discussion from council? We'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. This brings us now to the second opportunity for anyone wishing to address council. Don't push on the way up, gentlemen. That'll bring us now to other business. And we have, first of all, we have an amendment direction to Councillor Representative on the Petrolia Heritage Advisory Committee. I have talked to Councillor O'Hara, who was asked to be taken off. There is a recommendation. I will ask for a mover and a seconder to basically appoint Councillor Patel to the Heritage Committee to replace Councillor O'Hara. And again, that the clerk update the appointment bylaws necessary. So I'd like to ask for, Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Clark. I basically have told you the motion. I don't think you need it read.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Any questions from council? All those in favor? Opposed? And I should mention, Councillor Patel did agree to sit on that.
Said no.
I was barely age eligible, so it's kind of on the buffer.
Now, the next thing I have is, again, it's not for discussion, and that's why I've done it this way. And it's in regards to the issue of Plimpton, Wyoming, not agreeing to support our facility. But I am using the authority under Part 6.1 Special Powers and Duties of the Head of Council of the Municipal Act 2001, Sections 284.3 and 284.4, which is direction to employees for the purposes of performing the duties under Part 6.1, the mayor may direct staff to A, undertake research and provide advice to the head of council and councillors on policies and programs of the town of Petrolia or the head of council as they relate to the powers and duties under this part. And B, carry out duties related to the exercise of the power of performance of the duty, including implementing any decisions made by the head of council under this part. So I, R. Brad Loosely, Mayor of the Town of Petrolia, hereby direct staff as follows. Mrs. Julie Bullock, Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities, to bring back a report to council on the following. 1, outlining options to recover the loss of grant funds due to the recent budget decision of Plimpton, Wyoming. 2, include confirmation from all youth associations utilizing the arena, the number of registered participants from Plimpton, Wyoming for minor hockey, figure skating, and all other ice rentals. 3, advise council of the per user amount that would make up the $4,600 difference due to the loss of grant funding previously provided through Plimpton, Wyoming. 4, options for a non-resident participation fee to be considered for all future years where arena grant support is not received from neighboring municipalities, to be invoiced out directly to the non-resident users or as an additional fee charged to the minor sports organizations. 5, to include the village of Oil Springs and any other municipalities who do not contribute towards the grant under the same perimeters as above. And 6, for a formal agreement be established between the town and user municipalities. And this only involves municipalities that do not offer the same service or have an arena like we have. So that is my direction to Mrs. Bullock. And I have one more item. Bear with me till I just find it. And that is, I would like to inform council and the public in lots of time that I will not be seeking re-election as mayor of the town of Petrolia. Thank you. And that'll take us on to our bylaws. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to move the first and second reading of the bylaws, please. Moved by Councillor Hyatt, seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. All those in favor? That's carried. And I'll ask for a motion to have the bylaws read a third time, finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered. Moved by Councillor Hyatt, seconded by Councillor Patel. And I will direct the clerk to read those bylaws, please.
Thank you, Worship. And that is for bylaw number 11 of 2026, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia to authorize the execution of agreement with His Majesty the King and the Right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Transportation for the purpose of receiving funds for the Petrolia Line Water Main Upsizing Project through the CUSIF, be read a third time and finally passed. And that bylaw number 12 of 2026, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia to confirm the resolutions and motions of the Council of the Town of Petrolia, which were adopted up to and including February 23rd, 2026, be read a third time and finally passed.
Any discussion from council regarding those bylaws? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. And I'll ask for a motion to adjourn until Monday, March the 23rd, moved by Councillor Patel, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that adjournment motion, please.
Thank you. And that is for the February 23rd, 2026 regular meeting of council. The Town of Petrolia be adjourned to the next regular scheduled meeting of council to be held on Monday, March 23rd, 2026, or to call of the chair.
Any questions from council? If seeing none, all those in favor of approving adjournment? Opposed? That motion carries. Again, thank you everyone for coming. Have a good night.